So, John, a lot to catch up on this week in terms of the campaign. That's been par for the course. And I actually want to get your perspective, just more broadly speaking. But let's go through a few of these things, starting with I guess the lion or the mouse that didn't roar. Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, in the course of this campaign, have played just sort of a bizarre role, frankly. And one that is, I don't know. I mean, I found it a little bit strange in terms of what I've always perceived their mission. But so Julian Assange early in the week has a 3 a.m., I guess, our time, U.S. time, press conference that he streams live, according to Roger Stone, to announce a bombshell. And it turned out to be just sort of a more broad, it's our anniversary video.
Yeah, it's very strange. I mean, WikiLeaks' whole attitude in this election, as you said, is quite weird. You know, because we've looked at WikiLeaks as an important component for whistleblowers, and now he's just taken a role as basically trying to undermine the Democratic, candidate for the presidency. And I didn't know that week that was Julian Assange's mission from the beginning. So it's been, kind of surprising and disappointing. And then this whole announcement, I mean, and you have all these Republicans just freaking out because they assumed, obviously, that he was going to have a smoking gun, and they got nothing. And you got people tweeting, here's deplorable Melinda, saying, I'm so disappointed. I stayed up all night and have to go to work in a few minutes for this. I mean, he really played them as chumps.
Well, the whole thing has been really strange. I mean, earlier in the week, I guess maybe towards the end of last week, WikiLeaks released a tweet saying that Clinton had proposed a drone strike on Julian Assange, and the emails that were actually leaked did not actually show that. It was very strange, and Assange sort of addressed the fact that people have been attributing things to him that he didn't sign off on. I mean, it suggests that there are, I don't know, people who control the Twitter account or whatnot. I mean, look, in the main, I have no problem with WikiLeaks releasing and leaking all sorts of material, but they seem like they've gone a step beyond actually releasing material and just sort of waging a campaign. And from my perspective, as someone who has largely been a supporter of WikiLeaks, certainly many of the leaks that they have been involved with, is particularly the stuff from Chelsea Manning, which for years was the source of important news stories, and the cables, the State Department cables, all very important things. But it seems like they've sort of gone off the rails. I mean, my understanding is that even Daniel Ellsberg has been like, you guys got to lock it down a little bit to maintain this type of credibility, because that to me has always been the source of their strength, is that they were not really taking positions except for the fact that this information should be out there and the public should be able to consume it and be aware of what was going on.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to get all this information leaked from whistleblowers, and then you post it, there's going to be a lot of information there that's relevant to the American people or to other governments or other people who live in other countries. But to take an active role as an advocate for a presidential candidate really diminishes and demeans what I think and what a lot of people believe was WikiLeaks' mission, and it's turned a lot of people off. And I don't know if he just do it for publicity or and also the fact that wasn't there some malware that got into their machines. I think it's really hurt them badly with a lot of people, and it didn't have to. It's quite really disturbing, and more than anything, it's disappointing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's I think, as a broad sort of principle, getting involved with Roger Stone in any fashion whatsoever. Of course, I'm talking about the longtime dirty trickster that is a good friend of Donald Trump. Getting involved with them in any fashion never, I think, is a healthy thing for people who want to maintain any type of public trust. But all right, so speaking of public trust, you did you caught something coming from the RNC's chief strategist, a guy named Sean Spicer, that nobody else seemed to, and it centered around their preparation to try and, I guess, attack Tim Kaine leading up to the vice presidential debate earlier this week.
Yes, I'm sure your audience knows that the RNC released a Willie Horton type attack ad against Governor Kaine, and basically citing a lot of his work as just a defense attorney. And I guess now, Republicans are sort of waging a war against any kind of a person, any lawyer that wants to become a judge. That now it's a crime if you're a defense attorney and you want to be a judge. And so they released this ad with all these nefarious people that he had defended. And it's a mix of races and cultures. And Sean Spicer from the RNC tweeted out and basically glorified that it was a Willie Horton type of ad, and which immediately he got pillared on Twitter and elsewhere, so that he deleted that tweet off and then tried to blame Roll Call because Roll Call had called it a Willie Horton type ad. Well, this morning he goes on CNN's New Day. This segment was hosted by Chris Cuomo, and Cuomo brings up this whole story of this Willie Horton type ad. And I mean, I was watching this, and his response it was early. I mean, I was drinking my coffee at 7 a.m. in California, and I almost fell off my chair. And when Cuomo goes, this ad is being likened to Willie Horton. Like, what's the point of this ad? What's the attack angle? And Spicer starts laughing and goes, anyone who compares it to Willie Horton either hasn't seen the ad or doesn't understand history. And I was just dumbfounded. I mean, you're the person who compared it to Willie Horton. And obviously you don't understand history. And it was really this level of deception and just as we say, outright lying. I've never seen this in any political campaign ever in my many years on this earth. And unfortunately, I'm not sure how Chris Cuomo didn't read those articles. All he had to do was say, you're the person that did it. And it was quite really shocking. But as we've known and as we've seen these Trump surrogates all over the airwaves, they constantly say things that are untrue. They constantly, if Donald Trump says one thing, they basically say he didn't say it, and it's a media cover-up or media, they just hate Donald. So this was my morning of Zen, I will call it, which goes out to Sean Spicer.
Well, and, I want to take a break and want to come back and talk about that because I spoke to Professor Jay Rosen earlier this week on the Majority Report, and he talked about how the political press seems to be completely sort of overloaded. Like they don't know what to do with this level of mendacity. I mean, and like you say, I mean, the amount of lies that we see, casual lies, like lies that are just so obvious, it appears to be a strategy. I want to talk to you about that when we get back. We got to take a quick break. I'm talking to the great John Amato, the proprietor and founder of crooksandliars.com, the original video snippet site online. We're talking predating YouTube, folks. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back with John Amato, Sam Cedar, Ring of Fire Radio.